I'm Thad Brown, this is Carl Jones, and you are watching and listening to Let's Talk Ball, the weekly breakdown of the Bills via the X's and O's and the All-22. This will obviously be the last one of these we do this year because the Bills season is over after a 27-10 loss to the Bengals. Carl, there's a ton to get to in this game. Let's start right on offense, with the quarterback, Josh Allen. And I walked away from this game thinking there were a lot of things wrong with this game. Josh Allen wasn't great, but he wasn't necessarily one of them. And I got to back off of that a little bit. I didn't think Josh Allen had the game you needed him to have, even with all the stuff happening around him. Look, very first play of the game, there's a lot of talk afterward about how confusing the Bengals blitzes were, and they were. And we're going to talk about how good the defensive game plan was. But first play of the game, Mike Hilton, the nickel corner, is lined up attached to the formation on the right, basically sending up smoke signals that say, I am about to blitz. The Bills had two guys who were basically check down options. Isaiah McKenzie left, Devin Singletary out of the backfield right. I think the first read was to Stefon Diggs with a short little hook at 5 yards. Give the Bengals credit. The Bills have done that a lot. They took that away. Josh from there progressed to McKenzie, basically throwing into where the coverage was. McKenzie gets 2 yards. To his right, where the blitz was coming from, Devin Singletary's wide open for what would have easily been a first down. And the decisions that were not too good continued throughout the game. People talked a lot about in the third quarter, the 3rd and 2 bomb to Gabe Davis. And yes, that was a fine decision, a ball that Davis should have caught. But the two previous plays before that, Dawson Knox is open for chunk plays, and Josh Allen throws away from him on both plays. So Allen did a good job of, like he always does, making plays with his feet, extending plays, connecting on balls. But there were multiple occasions where there were, decisions made that I thought were poor. And as the game wore on, as the Bills' offensive line had trouble with blitzes, had some early trouble with the pass rush. We'll talk about that in a minute too. I thought Allen got jittery to the point where the moment he saw a white jersey, whatever the structure of the play was, it was done. And the best example was the very last relevant play of the game, 4th and 6. Stefon Diggs had been doubled the whole game, as he's been getting done, has been done to him like the last 5 weeks in a row, whatever it was. On that play, he gets singled up in a man coverage. And shockingly, Stefon Diggs wins. He's open for a touchdown. But because Josh Allen is freaked out about some guy who for a brief second had a straight line to him from 7 yards away that the offensive line later covered, Allen stopped going through progressions. It became a free-for-all, and all he could do was try and fling one at Gabe Davis. So, look, Allen wasn't problem number one. We start with him because he's the quarterback, but he was a problem in this game.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't help out their causes in any way. Shout out to the Bengals defensive coordinator for the things that he did in terms of disguising things.
Lou Anarumo was awesome, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. There was one play where actually Allen did check it down to Dawson Knox for like a 5 or 6 yard gain, but it was a mugged up look where the Bengals are giving you the illusion that they're bringing the house and it's cover 0, but then they bail out of it at the snap and get into a cover 2 look. Allen thinks it's still man and checks it down to Dawson Knox, who almost gets his clock cleaned on the other side by the nickel. So that was just like a small illustration of like what the Bengals did defensively the entire game. Just Josh never looked comfortable. And sometimes that's when he's at his best, when he is chaotic and when he is running around, making plays, running guys over, hurdling people. But in this game, the Bengals didn't give you those opportunities to do that down in and down out. I mean, you got nickels coming free, you got defensive ends doing stunts or just flat out beating their guys in front of them. And look, for all of the great things that Josh Allen does, I didn't think he did a good job processing things post-snap, which the guy on the other side of the sidelines, Joe Burrow, did a phenomenal job post-snap where it didn't matter what the Bills threw at him defensively, he still found the counter to what the play call was. So, look, I understand that we live in this Josh Allen experience where the highs are so high, we're going to ignore some of the lows. And look, I get it. The lows in this game weren't turnovers, but sometimes you need your guy, the guy that you rely on, the guy that you're going to, go into battle with, and he's leading the charge. I need him to play above and beyond. And in this game, he just didn't do so for a variety of reasons.
And above and beyond sometimes can be taking the 5-yarders over and over, making the right calls as opposed to hitting the big plays, the game-changing plays. But beyond that, let's give credit to Cincinnati. Both sides of the ball, this team was prepared. On defense, I thought they did a great job. If I'm playing against Josh Allen, I think what you have to do is keep changing the looks up. Sometimes they'd rush 4. They brought zone blitzes. They brought defensive backs from deep. They did a really nice job of hiding blitzes. And I think the thing they did that gets underrated in this game is that when they blitzed, they knew who then to come down on and cover as a receiver. They knew what hot guy Josh Allen would probably look to. And this is not an offense that runs a lot of hot reads, not without Cole Beasley. They did it last year with him, not so much this year. So they were very prepared, and the way they executed, I was impressed with top to bottom.
I mean, everything about what they did. You know, sometimes they did dare the guys to go win a one-on-one. And Dawson Knox, I did believe, converted a third and medium against Eli Apple on the sidelines. And then other times, they would give you that zone look where Josh is like, you know, he's patting on the ball, and then now he just wants to take off and scramble. And, I mean, that Bengals defense, they may not have, like, some of the studs that you see in the NFC or a Chris Jones that the Chiefs has, or even a Von Miller. But they have a bunch of guys that execute the game plan and trust that what their coaches present in front of them. Because, look, there's no reason to why they have Eli Apple and whoever the hell is the other corner.
Yeah.
I know Jesse Bates is an all-pro type of guy, but the safety next to him isn't that.
The secondary is not good individually. I agree.
Logan Wilson is a solid linebacker, but nothing to write home.
He might be better than that.
Yeah, but he isn't Fred Warner or Matt Milano.
For sure.
And for that defense to execute that game plan, hold that offense to 10 points on the road. Look, I understand the Bills play poorly. All three, where do you want to go? The offensive coordinator, up front, the weapons, Allen. But sometimes you got to tip your cap and say, look, you guys just out-coached us and outplayed us, and up front, out-physical us as well.
Yeah, up front, too. Trey Hendrickson was quicker than I thought. Deion Dawkins, I mean, he's got some speed, Hendrickson. Deion Dawkins did not have a great game first half. And I'll say this about the offensive line. I thought first half there were lots of issues. Roger Saffold had 2 or 3 where you wondered if he even attempted a block, you know, on a pass play. Deion Dawkins had trouble with Hendrickson. I thought the second half the O-line was better. Throughout the game they had trouble with blitzes, and we were talking about this here. You know, picking up blitzes, understanding who's got what has been an issue for this offensive line for a while now. It was no different in this game. But I really thought in the second half, on the whole, they played okay. It wasn't a disaster. You know, it looked bad because the Bengals scheme was just that good.